Hi, welcome to another edition of the Yorkshire Bike Mechanics YouTube channel. Today we've got something a bit special, something that's going to take us quite a while to do. We're going to change the rear triangle on this 5. Let's crack on. Okay, so first of all, let me just explain the reason why we're changing this rear triangle. We had this bike in about a month ago for a standard service. While we were carrying out the service, we actually spotted a small crack on the rear triangle just above the dropouts. It's only tiny. We'll put picture in picture so you can actually see it, and I've enlarged it so it's looking at it from a straightforward point of view. From if you're looking at it now, it doesn't actually look that big. But nevertheless, it's there. It's not a paint crack. It's actually a crack in the frame itself. So we contacted Orange. We do quite a bit of work with Orange, and we know them really well. And luckily, they've decided to offer a replacement rear triangle for this customer, which we're really pleased about, and obviously we want to thank them for that. So this particular job, you might not want to do this at home. You might not feel comfortable in doing this. It's quite involved. There's a little bit to it. Obviously the cables, the gear cable and the brake cable run through this rear arm. So we obviously need to disconnect those, pull them out, and reconnect them back up and put them back. There's obviously the pivot system as well that we need to take out. So there's a little bit to do. But first thing that we need to do is we'll take the rear wheel out. So on this particular bike, it's a 5mm. It's not the lever type that you normally would associate with this particular rear axle. So we'll just undo this. And we'll just pull that out of there. Just drop that out. Okay, and we'll put the wheel to one side. So now that we've got the back wheel out and we put that to one side, the next thing that we need to do is we need to disconnect the rear derailleur, the cable, the chain and the rear brake caliper. So first of all, let's take the caliper off. And it's a 5mm Allen key. Okay, and we'll just unscrew those. We'll just set that to hang there, just to out of the way for now. We'll take this brake adapter off because we're going to need to use that on his new back triangle, his new frame. Okay, so we'll put that to one side. This particular Orange, the colour, they don't do this particular colour anymore. They've changed the colour schemes. Okay, so that's that caliper down to one side. So let's undo the cable on the rear derailleur. And we'll just, that crimp there needs to come off, because it won't pull through the housing. Okay, so we'll just cut that off there. We may have to renew the cable inner. It might not be long enough now because we've cut the crimp off, but we'll wait and see. Okay, so let's take the chain off. Let's find the link. It'll be here somewhere. There it is. So we'll get us removal tool and we'll just undo that there. That's it. Take those links out and put them to one side, and we'll just take that chain off there and then put that to one side as well. That's it. Okay, so now that we've cut the crimp off, we can actually pull this out of the housing there, and then we can take this derailleur off. We also need the hanger as well, because the new triangle doesn't come with a hanger. So we need a 3mm I need a 3mm Allen key for that. We don't want to lose these little machine screws, these Allen keys. We don't want to lose these okay, and there's a little washer on these, so we just need to make sure we don't lose them either. So put them to one side. Okay, so let's leave this cable as it is for now. What we need to do is we need to disconnect this brake hose from this caliper so we can actually pull it back through the frame. We want to be careful how we undo it, because this caliper, the hose and the lever, is obviously full of brake fluid. It's Shimano mineral oil, so it's not the .4 fluid, but nevertheless we still need to be careful that we don't get it on these pads in this caliper. I think what we'll do is we'll take these pads out and put them to one side just in case that you know, we accidentally splash some. Once we get mineral oil or brake fluid oil on these pads in here, that's it. We have to renew them. They won't clean. So the other thing that we're going to need to think about is when we take this cable off of here, it will have an olive on, and we need to take the olive off and the insert, the barb insert in the end, so we can actually pull it through. Obviously it won't go through with the nut on the end. So let's take the pads out first. Let's get some just get some tools to take them pads out. There's a split pin in here, so we'll just straighten that split pin and then grab hold of this pin and pull it out. Okay, I'll put that to one side, and we can lift these pads out from the underside, putting them to one side. Okay, so what we'll do is we need an 8mm spanner, and we'll undo this nut on the caliper, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I'll do it this way so we don't lose any fluid from this caliper. You can see okay, so there's this caliper. You see that? No brake pads in. So we'll put that to one side, but we'll stand it up on its end so they don't get any fluid leakage out of where we've taken the hose out. And in here you can actually see, I'll just bring this in, you can actually see this hot olive on the end here and the nut. Okay, so obviously we can't get this hose back through the frame with this nut on the end, so we need to cut that off of there, and we'll need to fit a new olive and a new end piece in there before we reconnect it back up to us caliper. So let's get some snips. and we'll just cut it fairly close just to miss the barb that's the insert that goes inside. Okay, then we need to be careful. Take the nut off, put that to one side. Okay, so there's his hose, there's no end on, and as you can see I've not really lost any fluid, so we need to try and keep it like that. So that's that bit done. So the next thing that we need to do is remove the shock and the pivot pins that hold this triangle on the main frame. So we'll move around the front. So we'll take us 5mm Allen key and we'll just undo these. They shouldn't be too tight. Okay, if they are stuck in the frame slightly, if they won't go through, then if you've got a hammer with a like a plastic end on it, these are quite useful just to loosen these. So actually you can pull them back out the other side. Okay, there we are. That's that. We'll pop it in and we'll put that to the left hand side on his bench, which indicates the top, and we'll undo the bottom one. If you remember when we cut as hose, it'll be short by about 1/2 inch, but there's plenty of hose at the top end of the bike, so it shouldn't be a problem. We shouldn't need to replace the hose because there'll still be quite a lot on there. So it's just give that a tap. That's it. That's quite stuck in there, so we'll just give it a bit of persuasion. That's it. And we'll put that nut on the end and we'll put it to the right hand side on his bench, which donates the bottom. We'll take this shock off, put it to one side. Okay, so that leaves this triangle fairly free. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is undo these pivot bolts here. 4mm Allen key, one either side. You might find that once they've broke free, that the other side is turning as well at the same time. So what you'll need is another 4mm Allen key to put in the other side, just to hold it in place while you undo it. Okay, we can see that's actually coming out now. So usually find that one side comes out and the other one stays where it is. So so if we have a look now, we'll just take this side out here. We have a look. We can actually see this particular bearing here, which is a 61902, and then there's one on the other side the same. So what we need to do basically is basically take the other bolt off the other side that's now loose, and the cap. Okay, so there's his caps. We'll put them on bench and get a cloth. Okay, so now we've got a situation where there's actually a floating pin that goes all the way through there, and the other side looks identical. So what we need to do is we need to push that pin all the way out so we can actually lift his triangle off. So what we need to do is I use like a brass like a brass shaft there, which is a lot soft. That's it. So there's the pin that's come out there. And then on the inside of each side, on the inside of here, there's like 2 aluminium bushes, like little spacers. So you've got to be careful not to lose those. But now this is coming off, we can actually get to them by hand. So there's one there, and there's one on the other side. That's it when I can get it. Come on, there we are. There's the other one. So we'll put that to one side. So now that we've got us pin out, this is now free floating. So the only thing that's stopping this coming off the main front triangle is these 2 here. We've got the gear cable and we've got the brake hose on the left hand side. So if you remember, we actually disconnected the caliper from the other end. So what we need to do is just gradually feed this through here. Okay, so I'm pushing with my right hand, I'm pulling with my left, being very careful. I don't want it to flick when I get to the other end, otherwise it'll splash oil everywhere out of the end of the cable, because the end is loose, it's open, so there's nothing on the end of it. So just gradually. Okay, so there it is. So what I'll do is I'll just let that down there, just to let it hang free floating, and then I'll do exactly the same with the front with the gear cable. So just holding that to protect the frame. Right, okay, so that's it. So now what we can do is we can actually manipulate this frame, this rear triangle. We get these out of the way. We can manipulate it this way and get it off. Okay, so that's his rear triangle off the bike completely. Okay, so see you later, rear triangle. So we'll just give this a little bit of area of a clean here before we reassemble things. Okay. And I'll give this pin a clean and just check that it's not scored or marked. And it looks alright, does that? So let's try and clean that out if we can. Just so we can get some more grease down there. That's it. That's it, I've got all of it now. Okay, that's it. And I'll just put some solvent in there just to get rid of any grit. That's it. Okay, so what I'll do is now let's get the rear triangle, the new one. Okay, so here's this new one, complete with new bearings. There. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just put a little bit of grease on the inside there, so them spacers stop in the place when we offer it up. And we'll just drop them in there, and now because they're greased up, they'll stay where they are. Okay, we'll put a little bit of grease in here, a little bit of grease on us pin. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll just offer this back up, a reversal of what we've done to take it off. Okay, taking care, and then we'll just slide it in the same place as the other one came out, and then we'll get this pin and we'll just gradually feed it through here. Just gradually ease this pin in place. Now if we just take his hammer with the plastic on the end, and we'll just line it up. It should go through. There we are. So we've got his new pin in. That's gone all the way through the other side. So we need to put now as black caps on the end, using as 4mm Allen key. We'll just tighten these up. Get them out of the way, cable's getting in the way. Okay, so we'll just tighten that up. Okay, get the other one, the other side. Get a second Allen key. Okay, and then tighten that up. And we need to torque this up to well, so we'll just tighten these up here. And this needs to be around about 14 Newton meters of torque. Okay. That's it. 14 Newton meters. Okay. So now that we've got that in place, let's think about how we're going to get these cables back to this swinging arm, through the back triangle. Okay, we'll start with the gear cable. But what I thought we'd do is I thought it'd be interesting if I try and show you what it looks like inside here. Some people have said they've struggled like mad to try and get a cable back through here. And to be honest, I'm not surprised, because how actually this routes through can be tricky. So what I'll do is I've got a little camera. I'll put a camera through the end, and I'll show you what it looks like. Through where the cable exit is at the back, I'll just push that down there, and you can actually see where the cable exits are and the entry holes. You can understand that it's quite difficult to get a cable through there. So what I'll do is I'll take that out. And we'll put this cable through here. Okay, so trying to feed this through here, as you've seen. You see where the internal, the camera gives you a different angle, and it kind of lets you know how difficult it is actually to get that through there. You can't see where you're going, you're just hoping for the best. So the best thing to do with this is to get an inner gear cable, the wire that runs through the center of the gear cable. It's a lot easier to get that. So, and that feed that through instead, because it's a lot thinner and it finds its way a lot easier. So if we just pop that in there and just jiggle it about a little bit, it should find the right space, which it has. Okay, so now just feed that through, and if we get it in the right place, it'll come through at the other end like that. Okay, so can you see that? So it's actually come through at the other end. So now what we've got basically is we've got the inner through. We'll just unravel that. Okay, so it's a lot easier to get that inner through than it is the outer. So now you're thinking, right, okay, now that we've got the inner through, how the heck we're going to get the outer through? Well, that's the easy bit. Now that we've got the inner through, what we need to do is feed the inner through the outer, like this. Okay. Okay, so now that we've got that through there, so what we need to do is put that through there, put the outer cable through with still the inner actually in there. We need to just feed it through and it will find its own route through that hole led by the inner cable. And we just keep that going, push that through. And it will come out the other end. Voila. You see? So we've actually got it out now at the other end. And we simply did that. We simply did that by using the inner cable as a guide for the outer, for that to go through. Okay, so that's that through. What we need to do now, we need to get us brake hose through the other side. And it's a similar sort of principle, but obviously we can't put an inner gear cable through that because it's full of mineral oil. So what we need to do now with that one is take a little bit of extra care and put a little bit of a bend on that end, like that. And you'll find that it will find its own little spot, that, and find the right way in. You just need to, that's it. Okay, it's a matter of feel. Once you get that through, okay, so that's part way through. So what we need to do now is look for it through that hole there, because that's where the exit is. So if we go around the other side, I'll just move that old rear triangle there. And it does help if you have like a pick or something with a sharp end on, just to look for it. So if I feed that through with my left hand, and we're just watching for it through that hole, okay, and it does help if you turn it so we can see it. Quite difficult to get, very tricky sometimes. You have to excuse me for the quietness, because it's sometimes quite difficult to do. Right, tricky. There it is. So we're just after easing it. Okay, so just getting hold of it and just teasing it out there. Just getting it in the right place so you can get hold of it. There we are. Okay, so we've got that through. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to put a fresh end on there. Put the nut back on. Put an insert back in there. And also put an olive on the hose. So what we'll do first of all, let's get this brake adapter back on. And then we can put the caliper back on. Help if I put it the right way around. If you notice on this new swinging arm, these surfaces have been cleaned to make sure that the actual adapter sits square on the swinging arm later on. But for now, let's get us caliper carefully back on there. Just loosely for now. Just turn that camera around there, that's it. Okay, we'll just put one in for now. So what we need to do is we need to get as nut on the end. Okay, we need to get the little insert in there as well, so I'll just get one of those. We'll use a new one. I could actually salvage the old one from the bit that I've cut off, but I've got a new one here, so I might as well use a new one. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just elongate the end, make it a little bit wider in there so that can actually drop in there. Okay, so now what we need is an olive on there. So I've got a new olive as well. Okay, so we've got his insert. I'm hoping that's in focus actually. So we've got his insert, which I've just put in. We've got his olive, and then we've got his retaining nut on the end. So we'll just pull that bit through so we can actually get that in there. Push it in as far as we can with the olive as well. See if I can pull a bit more through. So we we're actually going in straight. That's it. That's it. Okay, so I get that screwed up there. Need to pull a bit more through. That's it. You need to be careful not to get this cross-threaded. It's easily cross-threaded. And once you get that cross-threaded, there's nothing you can do. You've got to replace the caliper, really. So, okay, we'll get us 8mm spanner. Okay, and we'll just, I'm kind of feeling that getting tighter now, so I don't want to over tighten it. Just nip it up. That's it. Okay, so that's us brake hose back on. We've left us pads out for now. Let's put us derailleur back on. First of all, what we need to do is we need to put us mech hanger back on. Okay, so that drops in there. We'll put a little bit of grease on it, just to stop it seizing in and sticking in there. So if we ever need to replace it, it should come out fairly easy. And put us 3mm bolt in there, and another one on the other side. Actually, I'll put a little bit of Loctite on those, just to be on the safe side. That's it. Put one on the bottom one. Just helps it keep it, stop it from dropping out on its own. Okay, so let's just nip those up. And the bottom one. Okay, so just nip those up. We'll put us derailleur back on. There's Allen key, 5mm Allen key. Okay, some fireworks going off outside, I don't know why. Okay, so that back on. We can put us cable back in, but let's push it back through from the other side. You should see it coming through in a minute or two. Like I said, we might have to put a new one in. Because it might be a little bit short. But we'll see. If it is short, we can soon put a new one in. Not a problem. Okay, you should see that through at the other end. Which it is, it's there. Okay. Pop that through there. Put that through there, through when it goes through, and it eventually goes through. Come on. Okay. That's it back there. Must be in there. I'll just put back through that clamp. I think it's probably going to be long enough, this. I don't think we're going to need to replace this cable. We can still get a crimp on the end there. And what I'll do is I'll actually, before I nip this up, I'll just take the slack off this cable and take all the tension off completely, rather. That's it. That's it. We probably might need to set the gears up again. We might not, but the chances are we will probably need to re-index them again. Okay, so next job then, let's put a shock back on. Okay. So we'll drop this on first. Drop this end in. Okay. A little bit of grease on that bottom pin. Now this, sometimes they take a bit of getting in because of paint on new ones, but once we find this, once we find the right hole, we won't get in there. That's it. Just drop that in the other side. Just put the front one on before we nip it up. Bit of grease on. Okay. It can be a bit tricky to get in sometimes. Take a little bit of lining up. It. Get the other side in, the other bolt. 5mm Allen key. I'll just nip them up for now, but I will go around and torque them up when we've all done. Okay, so we can put us wheel back in, we can put us chain back on, that's it, just nipped up for now. Okay, so let's bob us wheel back in. Okay, so put us pads in. I think we'll use a new split pin. That's it. Just make sure that they're not going to come out. Let's get us chain back on. Feed that chain through there. Back through the other side. Oh. Happens quite a lot, that. That's it. Grab hold of that. That's it. Feed it back through. That's it. Okay. We'll join his chain back up. This split links. I call them split links. They call them missing links, but I call them split links. I've always known them as split links. When I used to get them, the old style ones, I used to push on from one end. Okay, so we'll just leave it like that for now. Let's bob his wheel back in. Here it is. Bit of grease on the axle. That's it. Feed it up through there. That's it. And I'll just tighten that up briefly for now, just to make sure it's in its place. And that's it. I might as well tighten it up. That's it. We'll just leave this caliper fairly loose for now, because we'll probably need to just realign it on the disc. So we'll just leave them loose. For now. Okay. So let's see what his gears are like. Yeah, need to undo that cable. Pull it through a little bit more. That's it. Right, we'll try again. That noise that you can hear is the actual disc running through the caliper, because it's still loose on the frame. Okay, so a little bit of tweaking, but we're more or less there with that. What I need to do now is just adjust these gears, just to kind of finalise them and make them right. I need to make sure that that's in the right place. Might need a little bit of bleeding. It might not, but the chances are it probably will need a little bit. There'll be a tiny little bit of air in there. So that's it. All done. Apart from torquing these bolts up and just checking over things, just to make sure we're all right. But yeah, we're all done. I hope you enjoyed it. It's quite time consuming. I hope you kind of understood how difficult it is sometimes to get these cables through, and the hose for the brake. I'll probably need to bleed the cable. I'll probably need to bleed the brake just to get any air that might be in there when we cut it. But essentially, I think that's it. Okay, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you would, and we'll do some more. Speak to you soon.